Quick audio check. Toast and butter. One side toast, batch loaf Irish butter. Check, check, check. Hello and welcome to Euro Truck Simulator Sunday Drive. So I haven't really done any streaming of playing this game at all, as far as I can remember. I might have done some small ones previously, but never really went into how I've set it up or what I'm using. So a lot of this is like when you start the game out, you have vanilla, part of Britain, part of Europe. Ireland doesn't exist in it. And then there's like a mod manager. So the mod manager profile, if I click exit and then launch pad, this will bring me back to the profiles. And it auto saves my game, so it should be fine. So, PROMODS, mod manager. Let's just briefly run through this. So these are all the mods that are either subscribed to via the Steam Workshop or loaded in via either manually into the mods folder or through third-party apps that are used. So one of the third-party apps that I use is called Trucky. What is Trucky? So Trucky is basically like an all-in-one community hub slash dispatcher slash leaderboards. type of app. They do their own independent weekly challenges, which is things like drive an Iveco such and such model for 20 jobs, and the job length by land distance must be at least 250 to 500 miles, for example. Then there'll be a second one that'll say, well, do 10 jobs to or from Glasgow. And then there'll be a third one that'll say, do 5 jobs delivering one of the following 3 items. So you can literally stack them on top of each other by driving the right vehicle, driving the minimum required distance, and picking one of the 3 items. And you can do that within a week, depending on how often you play the game. There is also VTC, which is virtual truck companies that advertise on there, or you can create your own. I've joined Euroline there about almost a month ago, even though I've been playing this game for ages on and off. It was the first time joining an actual group. It's actually an Irish group with a few British and other foreign drivers. What else? What else do we have in there? Yeah, there is a dispatcher tool now. I'll come back to the dispatcher thing in a moment. So as I say, yeah, this is pretty much all of the mods that I've either subscribed to or loaded into the mods folder. Not all of these are currently active in this profile because I have different profiles for testing, because obviously I don't want things to crash. There's a few Irish related ones in here, like On Post, this fella Sir Blackie. These were done quite a long time ago actually. These ones, there's no date on them. He didn't actually fill out all the details, but there's Guinness branded stuff. One of my favorite quality of life mods has to be this one, Delivery Plus. It basically balances the economy and the job market, because the vanilla game absolutely sucks at things like distance and payment for the length of the job. And you know, some of these jobs you will spend hours doing. Now some people who want to play this game will want to be able to sit down for maybe half an hour to an hour at a time. Yes, it's possible. In fact, you can do like a 500 mile or 500 kilometer job in 23 minutes on average, depending on the route and the quality of the roads you're using. Anyway, things like PROMODS though has a specific load order, and then third party stuff can sit in between at certain points, usually towards the top. So some of the extras I have in here is this GPS tablet that can sit, depending on the truck you're using, you can mount it on the window, near the window shield, and then there's the one for the actual the middle of the console of the truck. You can be mounted there. It's much bigger and it tends to be easier to see what's going on. You can have both it and the integrated one that's there normally. There's a Guinness skin I loaded in for the Scania S&O, which I'm not currently driving. Then there's Irish trailer skin, so that gives you things like Super Value, Super Max. I've done quite a few jobs moving stuff as Super Value between IKEA and other places. And then these are the ones here, Maghreb map, that just extends the playable area essentially. Some of these are generally not compatible with certain other features of the game. More specifically, what's called World of Trucks. World of Trucks is like almost like an add-on community feature website where you can take jobs from the jobs market under that category of it being a World of Trucks job. I can't remember whether they're specifically created by the community or not, but the reason why they generally, it isn't a good idea to take those jobs when you're not playing vanilla, is that the ferry point connections can be different, as in PROMODS has extra ferry connectors that the vanilla doesn't. So what happens is World of Trucks, when it gets upset, there's a part of north of France, for example, I found out yesterday when I was loaded into PROMODS, was I was going for a different ferry point to get onto the bottom of the UK or Britain, and as soon as I tried to go onto the ferry, it said desynchronization. We cannot detect whatever it was, so that effectively broke the job, and I lost all the time I'd spent on the job up to that point. Right, so back to what we were saying. World map. So we picked up a job. Now I didn't use the dispatcher tool this time. I actually did go into the freight market, and I picked up, now it's probably not going to show since I've picked it up already. Now, as I mentioned, Ireland is not normally part of vanilla. PROMODS adds it in. Then there's another mod called Northern Ireland or is it reboot or re something, adds in all of these. I would love to see someone do not necessarily a one-to-one scale of Ireland, but you could draw it out bigger here at a better scale, and then just have the ferry links coming across, and obviously Rosslare and Wexford down to France, stuff like that, and actually put in a lot more cities and towns. Like I think that's Newry, so you got like Dundalk, Drogheda is missing in between Dublin. You've probably RD slightly to the left of it. Then you've got Navan, Kingscourt, Cavan, Carrickmacross and Monaghan. Londonderry's completely in the wrong spot. It should be somewhere down around there at the tip of the mouse. Stuff like that. Like even Donegal is not there. There's Sligo. Sligo is in the wrong spot as well. That should be more down towards there. That's the Surfers Coast. What else are we missing? Mayo is there. Limerick. I'm pretty sure Limerick is not there. I'm pretty sure Limerick's more closer to here. Then you've got obviously Clare, Kerry, Cork, Waterford. Anyway, just an example. Because I don't know if I have it on this profile, but I have Indonesia added in on another test profile, and there's a ferry link here. That's not what you'd call legit because of the way it goes. It's cutting through the land, but that's actually connecting to, I think it's Jakarta. I'm just here dragging just to see where it is. Yeah, Indonesia. Now, in the other profile it looks better because I've a different map mod used where it colours it better and lays it out better, and the ferry link actually doesn't. It's just laid out better. It looks more legit, we'll say. But anyway, this is what the job market typically looks like. You've got quick job, which is you don't have to provide a truck or a trailer. They give you both. And you automatically teleport to the starting point. Freight market is where you can see the general area. Let me see if I can get back to where we were. Yeah. Or what you can do is, as long as you've visited the city, let's see, that's Iceland. Yeah. So see these bigger blobs compared to the smaller ones, or the ones that would be considered grayed out. Yeah, there's one that's grayed out that we haven't. It's not active, but the ones that are active that you can click on, it'll switch the list to that being a starting point. Now, the reason why the money's so good on these is because of the Delivery Plus mod. As I say, it balances it out. You can click and it'll give you. Now there's a good run. There's a good 5,000 kilometer run. You don't actually have to stick to that specific route. After you take the job, whatever the job happens to be, you can literally go into the I think it's the world map when you have the job, and you can click a different ferry point. So for example, if I wanted to come across from say Dublin to Holyhead, I could drive straight across to Grimsby, hit Denmark, and then make my way across here to there, cutting out this extra bit. So from a player's perspective, you will save time if you don't want to put in the number of hours that distance requires, because 5,700 kilometers is a significant amount of real time. And this is one of the reasons why I use Trucky, because what Trucky does is it puts an overlay that only I can see. I don't think the game capture actually will capture it at all, but Trucky we'll put a bar on the top and on the very bottom, like just a nice thin bar with a little bit of information about what the job is, time, distance left, distance already done, just stuff like that. But it calculates the real time to do it up to a point. Now, notice it says land distance and ferry distance. So that 5,700 gets deducted by 270 for this ferry point. Whereas if we took that ferry point, in fact, let me just come out of this. Let's go to the world map here. This is where we should actually be showing it. So this is where I can recalculate. So see that number 1 that appears. So I could literally tell it. So where are we headed to? We are headed to way up there. So these dotted lines are different ferries. So Grimsby would bring me to Esbjerg. And there's some nice big bridges actually that we can cross over, which is here, here, here. Let's see, and then we could head to, what is that? Is there any up near it? Oh, there is. This one here. Let's see what. So there's 2 paths crossing each other. I can't really see exactly where that starts, but I suspect it starts down here somewhere. I think it's there. Let me just double check. We can zoom in. You can only zoom in so far, but it looks like it's one of these. Maybe this one. But just to keep it simple and not convoluted, we could go via Grimsby. So if we go into Grimsby, is it Grimsby or what's it called? Oh, Hull, sorry. So if we click that, it recalculates the route from Holyhead. And again, you can, if you wanted to go via Sheffield, you could, or whatever, like you can literally draw. But there is a potential issue. Well, not issue. It's more of a, if the job type says it's urgent or it's anything higher than normal, basically you are time restricted, so you really do have to try and stick to at least the speed limits, which is the calculated time to get there, or faster than the speed limit of the road sections that you're going through. I'll explain that better in a second. So that's that one. So you want to go from Hull to there, and then from there. So the reason it's bringing us, typically a GPS will do this, is because it's trying to point you towards major roads like motorways, highways, dual carriages, whatever terminology you want to use. Now let me see, there has to be another way to get to that. Yeah, there is. I would definitely like to know what ferry point that starts at. As I say, worst case scenario, you could drive to this one to find out if it's the right one, and if it's not, just drive around the corner. So we could say click that. I don't know why it's showing at the moment, but sometimes you get an option up here that says add next waypoint to end. I'm not sure why that's not showing at the moment. Now, another way of potentially doing it is you can take away that one and put in, actually click on it. Does that calculate? No, so in that case what it's done there, it's brought us up further than tell us where, then calculate where it actually is. That's just it's more to do with where you're clicking is what causes that. So if you want to be really finicky about it, let's try doing it this way. No, click there. Right, now let's see, can we get this to calculate it properly? I click just ahead of it. No, it's going around it again. See, it's going around this way, which we don't want it to do. It's a pity. And I think the reason for that is because this is not normally here in vanilla, so I think that's why it's struggling to figure it out. Yeah, see the way it's going up and over, and now, as you might have noticed, the trip distance has also changed. In fact, it's changed dramatically. It's not, I think, was that showing us 5,000 and something originally? So we can reset. So reset brings it back to 2985. Yeah, as I say, you can just play it as it is. As I say, the only real benefit I could see, depending on location wise, is getting to Grimsby Hold area, to getting a ferry across, just to go straight across instead of what seems like a longer distance. Actually, let's try that. There we go. Brings us to Rotterdam. Right, let's go with that. Anything else I need to cover? I've just bought this truck and customized it as well. This is a Volvo. Normally I usually drive in a Scania S series. I've loads of garages and drivers. They are all AI. So when you buy trucks, when you use the recruitment agency and you hire drivers, you're essentially, these are like AI NPC characters in the background with random stats and ratings. As they do work, the rating, they earn an increase on their rating. So the higher the rating, the better the perform, I think it is, over time. Then there's truck manager. So if I click on that one, so there's a preview of the truck. Now I think I used to drive that one myself. You can move them to different garages around the world. Upgrade, sell, copy, config, restore. That's kind of a new thing where you completely restore it back to its original fittings, I think. Expensive. There's our virtual driver who's currently resting. Driver manager. Daily average profit. Assuming that's a game day cycle. Profit for last 7 days. So you can see where all the drivers are located. Now what can sometimes happen is you might buy a truck and put it in a certain garage that you bought for a certain city, and you forget that you haven't bought a driver for it. Should that be the case, if I go back to the truck manager, yeah, let's see, can I re-find one? Maybe this one. Oh no, we do have someone assigned. If there was no one assigned, it'd be blank. You just click on it and it would bring up the recruitment page, basically. It defaults to balanced. Now, she has a very good rating there. Like, she would have started at probably 1.7 or something. So this line here is basically chemical fuel tanks. So corrosive explosives, all that kind of stuff. This icon is long distance, long hauls. What do you see? I think that one's fragile, time or importance based, value based, like high value, economy, how economic they are on fuel usage, I think is what that one is. But anyway, right, let us get out of that and back to our job. Sorry, that's worth mentioning while I'm in here. They recently moved all the old trucks into a new thing called used trucks, which you can get to left or right hand. So this randomly cycles. There is a feature in the game for resting at rest stops. It's on by default. You can turn it off. That day-night cycle that it triggers when you do use a rest stop, even if you've turned it off in the game settings, you can still go to a rest stop and end the current day-night cycle to go to the next cycle. So from day to night, night to day, for example. That resets this, or refreshes it, I should say, and the same applies to the jobs market. So if you don't see a job for a particular area or something that you're trying to get, that's a good way of doing it. What else? Let's to go into there. There is an internet radio, but it's a bit finicky. I actually had to copy paste, edit the file, and I put in 2FM RTE in there to get it working into the text file. There's a few decent enough ones. These ones here are German, but they're actually English 80s, 90s songs and stuff. There is some American country. And there's things like truckers radios, simulator, FM. There's a lot of the Irish stuff in here doesn't work because the links are stale, so that's why you have to edit the file. Photo studio and content browsers. Yeah, that's a lot to do with just taking pictures as you go. If you're using the Trucky app, Alt and B, I think it is, triggers screenshots, which is handy because if you're playing on what's called Truckers MP, which is multiplayer, that's a different client that launches the game and attaches to actual servers. A lot of the things, there's a lot more rule restrictions, like you can't take a screenshot while driving, you can't pause the game while driving, so that's why I spend most of my time in the normal game with the PROMODS profile loaded, because sometimes I'll have to step away quickly and I can press F1. Right, let us, so we're still in Dublin. I think we're headed for the Porto. Yes, it is. So at the moment I have the vanilla GPS turned off, so F3 will bring it back up. It tends to have a lot more information than the normal built-in one, which is that one that just came on the console, near the console. The one on the right with what looks like a phone or a controller next to it, that is that's one I added on when I was in the services depot when I was customizing. This is a toll booth towards the port area. It's not a true representation of the actual Dublin port area and or tolls, because that's the thing about this game. They don't recreate the cities as they actually are. They just do not even an approximation. It's just like we'll do so much of it and it'll be of such and such a size. So that's because of the scaling that's used. You just don't have the option. Which is one of the reasons why I'm keen on finding out how to do it, so I could maybe try and do Ireland or part of Ireland as a mod that would work, add on to PROMODS. I think we're alright for fuel at the moment. Different trucks have different dashboards, and being able to read the speedometer and fuel gauge and stuff sometimes can be difficult, so I've set up some of the what's called infotainment toggle display something. So there's that one. I think that's the display toggle, so it's actually updating that's the navigation zoom, actually, that particular one. Then that one toggles that particular thing off, but I think it differs depending on the truck you're using. So we are heading towards a ferry now. I see Irish ferries mentioned there. Yeah, as I say, the Dublin Docklands doesn't really look like this at all. It's just what the developers decided to make it look like. Because there's plenty of assets that are, I guess you could say, reused. Probably the simple way of putting it. And in some cases, a lot of the ferry ports, you get to actually... What was that? Hold on, let's have a quick look and see what that was. Did I run over something I didn't see? So this is kind of like photo mode. Oh, there's a lip. It looks like there's a lip there coming off the road, off the tarmac. But I can take screenshots. So this is independent of the Steam F12. Taking pictures is completely different. Switch back, come out of that. So this anchor point, most of the time you'll see that at the actual ferry itself. So you actually get to drive into the back of the ferry. In this particular case, they've simplified it for it by just having it here out on the ground. So right, sometimes you'll have multiple options, so you need to remember where it is you're going to make sure you pick the right one, but in this case it's straightforward. I will be doing a new thumbnail for this video after I've finished, because I just didn't have time to do it before I started. As you can see, we've just gone from daytime to nighttime at Holyhead. Still has to drive on the left side of the road, but the exit is this way, so that's why I'm... Well, the GPS... Okay, that isn't right. The GPS is sending me the wrong side of this yard. It should be the opposite side of the yard. But we're going to follow it anyway, because both sides will lead to the same exit. Yeah, there's the exit there. Another thing that's different between playing the normal game in this what we call solo mode or default solo mode versus something like Truckers MP. Truckers MP tends, at least the ones I've been on, don't have any other traffic like such as that car because they're AI. It only has other players. So the Truckers MP PROMODS server, for example, so there's a list when you log in to the client. You get there's about 8, I think, and one of them is PROMODS. Some of them are Simulation 1 and 2. Some of them have USA versus Europe. So if you're playing ETS, American Truck Simulator, which is made by the same company, versus Euro Truck Simulator, you can play on there. It does have its own dispatch tool built in by pressing tab. Brings up a little GUI. So typically Truckers MP is used by the virtual truck companies to do convoys. So the VTC that I'm in, they typically do practically 6-7 days a week. They'll organize on Discord say tonight from 7 o'clock, lads, we'll meet up at 7 and here's the planned convoy pickup. The city, the country, city, company, what job to pick up, and then the destination. So depending on the length of the destination, I think the lads try to average, is it maybe 1.5 to 2,000 kilometers in a convoy job daily. Different VTC have their own rules and requirements, like do 5,000 kilometers a month, which is easy. Like you could literally go into the jobs market and just pick anything at random. Maybe look at the length of the job, because like if you've only got half an hour every evening to play, you know, just pick a short job, do one every evening, and you'll eventually hit 5,000. It won't take long, because based on my own notes of, I tend to prefer doing if I was to do the same convoy job myself on this solo profile, which I do sometimes, where I don't have the time, where I won't be able to join them at 7 o'clock and then they finish at 10 o'clock. That's like 3 hours. Like, not everyone wants to do that or can do it, so I'll take the same start and end, but I'll work out a multi-job, multi-stop in between, and I might do it in, say, 250, 500 kilometer lengths of jobs using the dispatcher, so I can customize it myself. So that's another way to do it, like, so you don't have to worry about having to do 5,000, and you certainly don't have to do 5,000 in a week, but you technically easily can, and that could be, I don't know, that could be over 5 nights even. There are some that are, we'll say, retired or whatever, and they play this religiously, and they can do 5,000 easily in a day, if not more. What else? Yeah, so there's different cinematic buttons. That's part of the base game anyway. You can do clever things with it if you're into, say, content creation and you want to do some cool things. There are some mods apparently that can make this cabin view smoother. Now I've got the Tobii eye tracker, what was it, 5C, so I do have it set up, and I've made tweaks to it so I can properly turn my head so I can see out the window properly fully, especially when you're coming up to things like roundabouts or junctions and you want to be able to see if there's oncoming traffic that might have the right of way. But not everyone plays this game completely legit in terms of traffic rules and regulations. Like, you can turn off traffic offences, which is running red lights. I think if you collide with something or someone, there's a fine. There's way stations, although there's more of those in American Truck Simulator than there is in Euro Truck Simulator. What else? There's different types of fines and stuff. So I do have that turned off. The other one I've turned off is the rest indicator. So typically in the real world, you're only supposed to drive for a maximum amount of, is it hours, I think, and then you have to take a mandatory rest. So that feature is in there, which, as I mentioned earlier, ties into how you can change the day-night cycle, like move it forward. At the moment we're doing, so this dashboard is digital. I can see our speed is around 49.51. We do have cruise control. There is things like adaptive cruise control and air brakes and stuff, and I've heard some of the lads say just don't use them. They don't work as intended, or never has. So yeah, SCS Software, who developed this, they are always reworking parts of the base game, like reworking, say, I don't know, London City, or recently I think it was Switzerland was a rework that they mentioned that they've done. So they come in as minor updates, so you're not necessarily buying DLC. But at this stage, with all the DLC that they have put out for ETS 2, you do want to actually get all of them, because it primarily extends the map. And then once you only have to buy those once, any updates for those areas are automatically included in any updates. I think it's worth mentioning that if you're starting out, don't worry about PROMODS unless you're really keen on doing long distances, because there's one thing, because of the update cycle and or frequency of how PROMODS gets updated, essentially you could end up with not being able to play PROMODS because they've just done an update. And then if you're using add-ons to PROMODS that haven't been updated, now the update could just simply be the developer of the add-on just needs to go in and update the compatibility version so that it shows up as compatible for the new current version. So we're on 149, I think it is. That's kind of the downside to the modding part in most games, is if a major mod update happens to the core mod that you're using, other things aren't necessarily updated as quick. So what'll happen, basically what happens is the next day you load up the game, you click your PROMODS profile or whatever the profile happens to be set up as, with PROMODS in it and the extras you put in, and the next thing it goes, game content change detected. So one or two things typically will happen. It'll basically say, right, you now need to pick a respawn point, which would be a city with a garage that you've visited and bought, I think, or is it just cities visited? I can't remember which. And it'll spawn you there. Sometimes, if it's not a major update and it's just a minor thing in between game sessions, you might see that message, but it won't. The same message will also say if you were already in the middle of doing a job and you decided, oh yeah, I know I've spent an hour on this, there's at least another half hour left, I'm going to go to bed, I'll finish it tomorrow. What can happen is that respawning you somewhere else feature basically it says it's going to end the job with no penalty and put you at your place of choosing. Now, if you've spent an eternity on a job already that you haven't finished, that you don't get, and that doesn't get logged into the company log. So yeah, that can piss people off because of that. So now I have seen it where there's been no necessarily content change, but that detected message comes up, and it doesn't ask me to pick a respawn location, and it does actually load up properly, and it does allow me to continue the job, like one I had earlier today from yesterday. Thankfully, it did allow me to do it, but sometimes you can be unfortunate, and I think a lot of it's down to just be careful when you're adding in mods that you haven't really tested in a separate profile, because not all mods play well with others, especially if the load order is incorrect. It's important to get that right. Now, in terms of the future of the game, you'll see another guy on YouTube. I think it's Vutomy, Vutomy. He tends to put out these kind of what if, supposition, maybe type videos about SCS software and the game. Can be a little bit infuriating because the information he's given about potential future of the game, or sometimes he'll do like, oh, best mods in January 24, and some of those can be generally really good, but I find a lot of the time it's just padding, and he doesn't really give you genuine videos, particularly when he's talking about SES software and current work and future work. He'll take clips from interviews that they could have done, I don't know, maybe last year, and I've just noticed over quite a few of his videos I've watched, it just feels lazy, and I do wish he'd take some time even to do the basic grammar and spelling mistakes. There's no excuse for someone who's spitting out videos so much. I would have hoped he'd have learned over time how to fix those little things. But yeah, if you are looking for, ideas of what mods, like what I would call quality of life mods, things like having to do with realistic lights, the headlights mod, I think I have one for that, and I have the delivery plus. I would call those the quality of life mods at this point. In fact, I would say if you're starting out, try start with a vanilla profile. Like, you do want to do that at least, and then create a separate vanilla profile, but we'll call that vanilla plus, and that's where you put in your first mods into. So as I say, the quality of life ones. So that beeping you're here, I don't know if you can hear that beeping. I've just gone across 95 kilometers for a brief moment. I've just turned on cruise control there now at 91. So the Trucksbook client that's sitting in the background, that's monitoring, and you can launch the game from there. So when I complete a job, it'll go into its log. It then relays that back to the trucksbook.eu site, I think it's called, to my virtual company. So when people create a virtual company, they can register them on both Trucky and Trucksbook, and that will maintain stats and leaderboard within your company. So you can go on to, for example, you go on to Trucksbook, and you can see what your jobs log to date has been. You can see the company overall. You can see the company drivers list and leaderboard, things like that. Services, that's where you'll find there's a green icon on the GPS for rest stops and fuel. I've noticed the cost of the diesel, particularly on from West Europe to Eastern Europe, is a night and day difference of cost, particularly in what I would refer to as poor areas, or what's the word, the least developed economic areas, I guess you'd call them, where the price of diesel in the game is just so much cheaper. It could be 0.55 versus 2.01 in some places. It's crazy. Now, I think as well there's a mod that'll actually pull real world data for pricing. I don't know where I saw it. Could have been on one of Utami's mod videos, possibly. I have noticed lately though, the screen looks, I mean, it looks nice, the game looks dark, but it does look a bit darker, and I don't notice the, my lights are on full high at the moment, and I'm not really seeing much of anything. Can I? Yeah, okay, I see it on the back of that car. Let me just come around that car. So at the moment I'm doing 94, 95. Let's stick it, I'll put cruise control to 91, there we go. So the benefit of having the overlay GPS on is I can see what the limit is supposed to be for the road section versus the speed I'm doing. I can also see the damage, the gear status. Now I'm not using a gear shifter, even though I do have one. I need to actually learn how to use it properly, because I'm not really a manual driver. I don't even drive in real life, even though I've done lessons. Fuel usage, yeah, a lot of that stuff. Now look, here's something that's just happened. I need to turn off here because I wasn't paying attention. That Aldi skin that's on that truck in front, that's actually because of a mod that I've loaded in. I think it was Irish truck skins or something. I think there's two, volume 1 and volume 2. There's some UK based mods I added in as well, like add in companies and skins and stuff, like real world skins and company names. Sometimes with the dispatcher tools, if you try to pick a city or a town that you see on the map, it'll say cannot calculate distance because it's not part of the normal database of cities. It's been added in by probably either a PROMODS add-on or PROMODS or something, or some other mod that you've added in. You can still technically drive to that location for the pickup, go to that company, but what you'll notice is on the world map, the icon for the company location you're going to could say something completely different. Like it might say Tesco, but the dispatcher doesn't see it as Tesco because it's not normally a pickup point. Now I've just missed, because I was talking so much, I missed my stop, my turn. So what's happened now is the GPS is trying to redirect me to come back around and head back towards Hull. Now, because of the type of load we have, I could do something cheeky here. I'm gonna wait for this lot to move out of my way. Now, they will eventually stop. Sometimes not the way you want them to stop. Try and not hit off them. More than not, we do usually end up hitting them. So I'm going to be cheeky and try and go back. So I think we need to go back the other side of this bridge, or we could actually, no, This road goes down, doesn't it? Just go down here and turn left. Just need to be careful we don't run into traffic trying to come up this way, because we're going down the wrong way. There we go. That'll get us back onto track. GPS should update now in a moment. As I said, we got lucky with that one. Sometimes it has happened to me where there's so many split turn-offs close to each other that I can't figure out which one it is until it's too late. And the other thing that usually catches me out is this. So typically when you're logging your jobs to Trucksbook and your virtual company, there's generally a rule of you want to keep your maximum speed. I think for kilometers it's 101, so you need to stay under 101. In miles, I think it's 62, 65 maybe. Because what happens is the Trucksbook will say, well, actually your average came out as 101 or 102, and it logs that as not real stats but race stats. So that's what you don't want it to do. It still counts towards the leaderboard position, I think. I haven't really looked into that enough to say, but it's annoying when it happens. And usually the reason that happens is because you could be going along an even road like this. You have your cruise control set, and then just at the wrong moment, maybe your phone has a notification or something. I just realized I was on the wrong side of the road there. Something distracts you just for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, whatever it is, and in that 2-3 seconds, next thing you know, your truck is going downhill, a bit of a hollow, to then either level off or go up another hill. But unfortunately, because you've been at cruise control, let's say 95, which is a bit too close to what the race limit is, the next thing you know, you're 102 and you're like, no, I've just messed it up. And what happens, and if you're not quick enough, usually to get it, like hit the brake to bring it down, it doesn't get logged as a race. But if you're at 101, 102 for just too many, whatever the number of seconds is, it will get, the whole thing, when the job finishes, it will get logged at race stats, which is, as I say, you don't necessarily want. But I think so far I haven't heard anything disqualifying about it, but it's just, as long as it doesn't happen too much, I think it's all right. But you know, sometimes you just can't avoid it, and some of those evenings when the lads are doing a convoy, and it usually turns into some sort of shenanigans, antics of, you know, funny moment of, actually I remember one where the lad that does the convoy organising, he had picked locomotive on a kind of like a low bed trailer, and we were going, I think we were going through London, or well, a bypass of London, we'll say. I can't remember where it was, and there was this particular bridge. Now it turns out, now you could argue that maybe the developers or the PROMOD guys should have thought of this, is that for whatever the maximum height load is, surely the distance between the road and the bridge should be set to allow it. So it turns out this one particular bridge we all came to, and just imagine a convoy of, I think there was 8 of us with the same load, slightly different trucks, and the first person hit the bridge. He wasn't going fast enough, so it turns out it is high enough that if you were going fast enough, you could actually just brute force right through it, because we discovered we could just ram each other through onto the bridge to get through. I do know there was pictures and there might have been video of it at the time, but like, that normally doesn't happen. Then there was one time we were doing the Swiss Alps, the most bendy, high, hilly area, and we had heavy loads. Now, in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have been bringing heavy loads up the Alps. I can't remember what the load actually was, but it was something big and heavy. Like we're talking, I think it was over 20 ton, or it was 20 ton. Yeah, it was just, yeah, it was, let's just say there was shenanigans. We did manage to get to the top eventually. I think there was one or two did took turns too sharp, too fast or something, and got turned over. But the game does have the, what do they call it, the F7 feature, where you can get towed to the nearest service station. It brings you and the trailer, and you what am I going to say? You can repair the truck, but you can't repair the trailer. So that same F7, which is this one, will show you truck, trailer, and goods damage as a percentage. If you're lucky, as long as it's under 10% for the trailer, I think you don't damage the goods. Right, I think we've just, is this Hull? I think we've just arrived in. Right, so we don't get to drive into the ferry on this one. There's another one that has they cut corners on, but anyway, sure. I think there's only the one. Oh, actually, there's two. So there's Europort. Where is that? Okay, that's down that way. So that's the one we're going for, and that's the one for Denmark. Actually, wait a minute. It is that one, isn't it? Yes. Hold on. Let me see. Does it show us the flag? It doesn't show us the flag, but from what I remember, and if you're like me, sometimes you forget where you're going. Worst case, you can just take the ferry back, or you can just drive up. We did say we were talking about Rotterdam earlier, so it must be that one. Actually, no, sorry. In the original, it was Rotterdam to drive this way, I think. And then we were talking about the idea of coming across to Denmark to driving up this way, to then taking the ferry across. So there's a ferry up there. There's that one. We were curious about coming from here across to that one. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll go to Rotterdam and we're going to head towards this area. So sometimes the game does this thing where it looks like it's hanging. It's just like Java. It appears to hang for a moment and then it'll do what it needs to do and come back. Right, as you can see, it looks like we're in just over an hour into this already. And that's the thing about time and distance. So the trucky overlay at the bottom is telling me there's 2,495 kilometers left. Real-time calculation is 2 hours 31. But when you're taking ferry points, that time obviously changes dramatically. So we can use the photo mode. I'll just take a picture. Alright, F5 to force that GPS view back. Where are we going? Number 2, it can be better to see where we are and where we should be going. Oh, there we go, arrow pointing out. So some of the blue icons will be things like rest stops and there's one that looks like a weighing scale. I think is usually either a toll or a weighing area, but we shouldn't really have to worry about that, I don't think, when we're in this area. Where are we going that it's not blocked off? Oh, a sec, are we going the right way? Just checking the GPS. So it seems to be pointing us this way. Yeah, lane 1, 2, and 3. Check out. So later on we'll see a lot of these type of areas are automatic. You don't really have to stop for long. There's other places where there's like passport control or document control, and you do. And some of them can be quite close to each other. Like there'll be two sets to go through, particularly on borders, which does sometimes seem silly and unnecessary. Right, we're going here. There's cargo trans. Oh, hold on a minute. Am I going the wrong way? No, GPS is pointing me this way. Now, it could be the GPS is wrong. It did tell us when we were getting off the ferry to stick to the right hand side, or the right hand side lane. So the question is, and I have seen it with the AI sometimes is in the wrong lane, so it might not be our fault at whatsoever. There's Eddie Stobart. I don't recognize the other ones. We are going straight and then left, is it? It looks like there's a petrol station up ahead as well. I think we've got the right of way, so we're all right so far. He's breaking a stop sign. I will say the AI is very good at following the rules. The only thing I hate is when the light goes green, they start to move, and the next thing you know, they're braking. And they've kind of, like they've stalled, but they haven't really. And then they'll start to pull off again, or they'll take their time thinking about it before they do it. Can be a little bit infuriating. Hold on a minute, where's this sending me? Something's not right here. Hold on. Brake. Let me check the map. So I have had this happen before to me where the GPS is not right, or there's a loop. Okay, I think we might have created a loop by accident, not realizing it. Yeah, so we do need to head back out and just head up the road. Where is that sending us? Yeah. Now, yellow names means we've been through it. White means we haven't. Sometimes what I like to do is I click in near some of the white names so that the route actually takes us by them or close enough to them to trigger it's been visited, because there is Steam achievements per country, continent to visit them all and to visit all of the what would you call them, the is it the recruiters and the truck dealers. There's an achievement for that. But right now we need to get out of here because we're in the wrong. There was a lot of clutter on the GPS that was sending us this way, or we interpreted it as having to come back this way, but it turns out we didn't. Let's see, can we get out that way? Can. The AI actually does pay attention to how we use our indicators as well, I've noticed. So I'm going to ignore that turn off and I'm going to go up this way because this is like a main road. There is some interactions with railways, well, where they have the right of way, lights will flash, barriers will come down and you just have to wait. That can be cool. Now you see this road here, let's check the map. Is there a way for us to go out that way? Yes, there is. So if we actually don't take the right turn and we go up this way, we should in theory get an update that will send us that way. We are making the assumption, of course, that road actually has a connection. If it doesn't, worst case, we have to turn around. So let's see, that's just updated. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, not the update we wanted. I wonder. I wonder, can we. Ah, yeah. Here we go. So there's another a recalculation of that route to bring us out that way. We've kind of forced it to do it. What's interesting about that is it's making us go the whole way around. That icon, that's a garage that we haven't bought. So if you go into the legend, you can see what's owned or not owned. Oh, actually, no, we do own that one. It's when it's green, it's for sale. When you also click like that, you're changing the length of the route, which can be a good thing. I've noticed when I'm trying to use the dispatcher to do the weekly trucky challenge missions, and I'm trying to stack all three of them, so I could, so for in one job I can tick the box on all three requirements. But because of the minimum length, the job has to be, let's say, 500. If the job itself says it's 492, for example, land distance that is, what you can do is you can pick up the job, then pick up the load. As soon as you pick up the load, go into the map and start clicking on not necessarily alternative routes, but an alternative route to take, because you can lengthen it. So the closest route might be 492, but if you go to an adjacent maybe town, city along the route, and that adds on another 5 to 10 kilometers, and then, or you click it so that it adds on enough to go across 500. Ideally you want to go across 500 up to about 530 if at all possible. Sometimes it's not possible and you have to go to 600 kilometers of a route planned. But when it gets logged, though, it won't necessarily be logged at the 600. It could be logged at 580. But that you've met the target and you've exceeded the target, so it counts. The worst thing that can happen is not exceeding it when you need to, or not meeting the 500, we'll say. So I'm just checking here just to see. So I think we can turn off here, actually. Get back onto this one. Is that the one we're even going for? No, it's not. Well, it is. You could go around this way and go in by Eindhoven and mark that as. But we're going to stick to the route. Now, obviously the light is red, but you can be a bit cheeky here. If you can get across. So again, as I mentioned already, we have the traffic rules enforcement thing turned off, because we just want to get the job done as quickly as possible without going across the 101 kilometers per hour thing limit. Okay, so we're going. See, normally I wouldn't see all those arrows on the list, but and it does seem confusing. Oh, this is nice. Let me check that map again just to make sure we're going the right way. Yes, so we're going to come back around. We're going around the block, so to speak. Right, where are we going? Are we going straight ahead and around? Oh, hold on. What's that? Why is there... That's interesting. So I thought we were going around like this, but for some reason... Why is it sending me back that way? Huh. Could we come around this way and then turn onto that? I didn't notice when we were taking the thing. Do you know what? Let's try it. Let us try it. Well, there's nothing coming down, so we're alright. It looks like it's one way. So if I'm reading this right, we should be taking the next right at the next main junction. Is that it there? Where's that? No, that's a dead end. Wait a minute. Hold on. Like, this doesn't normally happen. Oh, do you know what it is? It's a tunnel. Yeah, I just realised the mistake we made. Not to worry, we can go up here and turn left. So, it doesn't happen too often, but on occasion, I say, reading the GPS can be problematic sometimes, especially when it's, what's the word, close together, or a lot of red lines. Normally if it's a red line with no green arrow, you don't have to worry about it, but for whatever reason, oh, look at this fellow where he's sitting. We're going to go around him, and then we're going to go left here, and back down the lane. And then we're going to head right, and I think what's going to happen is the elevation, sea level, is going to go down off the road to bring us down to the tunnel. That brings us under that bit that we thought we could go under here. Now, just as well, I don't think this job had the important or urgent icons. Oh, what's happened here? Huh. Okay. I thought it was sending us this way. What just happened? Oh, those are the extra mirrors I accidentally turned on. Where did we go? Did we turn too soon? I think we did. Yeah, that's another thing that can sometimes happen. Probably thinking, he planned this so we could show us all the things not to do. Yeah, let's go with that story. Yeah, I see it now. That's exactly what happened. We turned too soon. Because not all junctions are actually open, because there's nothing there to connect. I mean, I have to say the quality on this is phenomenal. But do you know what's, speaking of future news, 1.5 and 151, I think they're moving over to a new engine, if I remember right, like as in rendering engine. That's as in SCS software developers. That's supposedly coming over the next 2-3 major updates. Recently there was a new DLC for both Euro Truck and American Truck. I think there was weather improvements before that. The boxes definitely look a hell of a lot better than they were quite some time ago. The only reason I'm not turning on the internet radio built in is because of copyright, since we're on YouTube. That Autobot likes to flag things. As long as the alternative, if you are doing streaming the game and you want some music, just get a copyright free playlist, whether it be one that's from a YouTube video that's just linked in the background playing, or link into Spotify and set it up as a separate audio track so you can control the volume level independently. I used to use that, but for the likes of this, I just didn't want to chance it yet, or try it yet even. I do have, what do you call them, is it sound beats from, what's his name, the audio guy that does a lot of streamer gadget content videos. Harris, is it Harris Heller? Yeah, he set up a copyright-free music website with links to the different platforms that he has it on, like Spotify. Right, where are we going here? We're going down and sharp turns, so we're going to have to slow down. Let's turn on the indicator. I've noticed the AI are really bad at when they turn on their indicators. Like, I know in Ireland we turn on our indicators before we get to the junction, and when I say before, I mean like a reasonable distance from it. If there's no particularly if there's no traffic in front of you. But when there is someone in front of you, you keep your distance. You don't just pile up behind them. We are going left. F3 is check our fuel. We're okay for fuel for now. Oh my god, am I still following the wrong arrows? Yep, this has brought me back to... it's brought me back to the port. Fuck's sake. I'm distracted because I'm talking. Right. It's almost like it's like it's turning to Groundhog Day. Yeah. I think I know what's happened. I think there's a pointer here somewhere. Hold on, let me see. Where is it? It's probably the one back here, is it? It is. Get rid of that. That's what's causing it. So normally they're supposed to reset once you reach them. And that's what's happened here. There we go. See, now we fixed it. That's never happened. That in particular has never happened to me before. And I think it's something to do with where we clicked, created a loop. That's what it looks like what happened. There was a loop back at Hull, and it was bringing us back to the ferry port here because of the loop that I didn't notice. I did see the red line and I saw the extra arrows going in the opposite direction, but I didn't think anything of it at first because I thought that was just a one-way system, and that's usually why you would see that. There's a one-way system that you have to follow. Now, those arrows out there, the yellow ones, if they weren't around, you could actually just completely ignore the one-way system and do what you like. You do illegal U-turns, etc., and cut through. There is another mod I used to have was Daniel's Random Events. See these accidents? Let's take a screenshot of that. They now have that in the game up to a point where, and they will block the GPS route in some cases, like particularly on exit ramps and stuff. But usually there's enough room to just squeeze past them, except for a couple of days ago, whatever job I was on, I was somewhere in Europe, and the on-ramp that I was needed to head for was completely blocked by a fire engine, so I couldn't, so I had to keep going. Now it just so happened that the recalculated route after going past it did work out in my favor, because there happened to be another connection, so I didn't have to worry about it. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to go way down the road, couple of kilometers, to get to a roundabout to come back up and take an alternate connection. Again, it's all down to where you are. You don't always get so lucky and can cause a delay. But as I say, if you're on a job type that says the time category is urgent, you could end up getting penalized at the end if you can't make up the time, especially if you're sticking to the speed limits. So that one there says 80. We're already on 86, 90, whatever it is. I'm going to brake a bit here because I don't want to go over the night. I don't want to hit the 100. Braking also turns off cruise control. So let's see, we're on 85, 86. Hitting cruise control now at 88. So that's that for now. At least we're out of that loop, groundhog loop is what I'll call it. I will say sometimes if you're playing this a lot and you're getting tired, sometimes you might find that you're kind of like just dipping your eyes for a moment. But if you're dipping your eyes at the wrong moment and you're close to the side of the road where there's say like a barrier or something, all it takes is one little clip at the barrier and you've done severe sometimes it'll only be a little bit of damage, and other times it could be 14% damage instantly, or you've actually turned over the truck. So that's why now I think it's scroll lock. If I press scroll lock, it should do what's called a quick save. That can be a good thing, because again, and another thing that can happen is random crash to desktop. Doesn't really happen for me, but when it has happened, it's usually been because I'm on a different profile and I've maybe loaded some new mod or some new expansion, or I'm testing or something, and I'll just be doing absolutely nothing, and the next thing just back to the desktop. So usually that can mean the wrong load order, or it's just not really compatible with whatever the main mods are that you have, like PROMODS for example. There are some map mods that can't be mixed, that can't be mixed with PROMODS for example. They just have to be a completely separate profile on their own, or not necessarily on their own, but not what none of the PROMOD stuff can be loaded in. But that's not to say that you can't load in some of the quality of life stuff, like the delivery plus and the enhanced headlights one, whatever it's called. Those ones you can, and obviously the Irish trailer pack and those types, the cosmetic stuff as I would call them, you can. Right, according to Trucky, I have an hour and 15 minutes left of real time. Now that's, I think the base calculation for that is, I think it starts off at what the road speed limit is, but I think it's then gets recalculated based on our average real speed. So at the moment we're doing 92. Hold on, let me. Right, I've just set that to 89.90 for cruise control. So it will recalculate the duration it thinks it's going to take us. Plus, it'll tell us the real world time. So at the moment, it's telling me 4:54 p.m. as to when we'll reach our destination. It says I've over 600 kilometers to go. Sometimes I do miss the turn offs because when I'm looking at something else. Usually when I'm not playing this and I'm not usually not streaming, is I'll have YouTube or Plex or something on playing TV or a movie. I'll be half listening, watching to it, so that helps pass the time too. Or I'll be on Discord with the virtual truck company lads who talk utter shite most of the time, swearing, giving out about football. Yeah, I tend not to stream Discord, so if I'm ever on Discord and I'm streaming, I'm talking, I could be responding to someone or whatever, but you won't hear them, you'll just hear me responding to them. Not today, at least not at the moment. Okay, so there's a separate button toggle for high beams. Right, let's check our mirror, tilt our head to look at the mirrors. I have to say, when I first got the Tobii eye tracker, I had completely forgotten about this game, and then I happened to see it on the list of supported games, and that's actually what got me back into playing this, like, because I hadn't really played an awful lot of it, I think, at that point in time. And then, as I say, I had the Tobii eye tracker, or I had the tracker 3, I think, before this, but when I got the 5C, like, I really got into like getting my return on investment for the Tobii eye tracker. I had done some videos on it with other games like Call of Duty, where you can turn on an overlay that those watching the stream can see your gaze, so you can actually see how the Tobii eye tracker works. In terms of, in that particular, I think it's called Ghost. And then there's like different modes, heat maps. So you can see a heat map history for a few seconds of where your gaze starts and ends. Can be used in a kind of a training sense to see, I suppose, reduce mistakes of where you're looking, or how you're leading your aim in FPS games like that. But let's see, we can dip down our lights. I've seen the AI trucks actually, well, they'll go from normal to high beam for a moment. That's, for those who don't know, that's actually a real world thing where other random drivers will say hello by just going like that and that. It's like in the middle of the day where you're passing maybe another truck driver or another driver, and you'll see their hands are on the top of the wheel, and next thing you'll see one of the hands, their fingers together will just kind of go up for a moment, like they're waving. That's exactly what that is. It's a wave saying hello. And as you know, in Ireland we've got 32 counties and 50 ways of saying hello. From, well, how's it going? How's she cutting? And many, many more. I can't even remember, or I don't even know if I've heard them all. I probably have, just didn't know it. But anyway, I do have another controller. It's actually it was originally Saytech was the company, but Logitech bought them. It's a button panel controller type of thing. It's very good for different games like Bus Simulator and Farm Simulator. I could see, no, I haven't tested it yet with this game, but it'd just be an extra button panel. I think they call it this. I think it was originally called the Cytec side button panel, and it has like a little what would you call it, the bottom area is kind of flat with a little joystick and a couple of buttons around it, and then the panel goes up elevated at an angle. Now I did use it for Bus Simulator 21, another good game, but I haven't considered using it with this yet. You can add multiple controllers on. You can actually even get a joystick controller and build out your own button box. There's at least 6 different videos on YouTube on how to build your own button box, and it's all based on a joystick controller circuit board with connectors on it. There's videos on how to do that, and 3D print and cut or use some certain electric box items that you can get from probably a wholesaler or online. There's some of them in America that were created that were for sale on Amazon, but stupid money and customs and duty these days now, it's just crazy through the roof. You could spend 500 just trying to get it into the country. So it kind of put, but that kind of all the more reason for, if you're really that into this, that you would want to maybe try build your own. But I think the Logitech side panel unit would be a great addition to this. I must look into it and maybe do a separate video on it. And you can map the buttons then to different functions. You could even put probably stickers on it for ETS and say, you know, buttons for the lights, the wipers, there is an air brake function you can turn on, I think, as well. There's pneumatics with the truck where you can raise it up and down. You got buttons for doing that. The little joystick with the button on top, I think that would be perfect as a trailer slash parking brake idea. I don't know if you could, I don't think you could use it as a shifter for gears. I don't think it would work that way. Plus there already is a device for doing that, and there is custom kits for changing the default Logitech shifter and the Trustmaster shifter. You can convert them. There's like an extra a knob that you put on the top with 2 buttons on it and then a cable coming off of it. That's how you can go from 6 gears to, what was it, 12 or 12 gears, and there's videos on how all that can be set up. Some of them are brittle, I've heard. I've seen some feedback on some of them. One person had it for a couple of days and all of a sudden it broke. But yeah, like that's, and a lot of those people who have those are actually playing American Truck Simulator. So that for the realism of doing manual gears, but I'm doing automatic gears, so I don't have to worry about that too much. So I'm just using acceleration pedals. The pedals are accelerate, brake and clutch, but I never use clutch, so I was never a fan of manual gears, even when I did do driving lessons years ago. I always said if I was going to drive, I'd be getting an automatic. Right, 82, 80. Right, we're nearly coming down to an hour left. Can't see, how long are we into this? Oh, just over an hour and a half actually into the stream. So there's at least, according to this, there's at least an hour left. But if we can get ourselves on a good long stretch of open motorway, we could up our speed somewhere a bit comfortable. Where are we at? 91 now. As I said, if this is a good long motorway, we could chance our arm a little bit, but not when there's a dip in the road. So when there's a dip in the road, you do not want to be anywhere near 95, because it doesn't take much to go from 95 to 105 because you've misjudged the distance. I don't know if you're hearing that beeping. That beeping is not actually set or coming from the game. It's coming from the truck's client. It has the option to turn on like a speed limit warning sound. It just so happens I have it set to 95. See, there it is again. Right, 93 cruise control. Now I can see on the GPS there's a turn coming up that I'm going to have to slow down for soon. And then if there's traffic directly in front of me... Oh, hold on. Why does this look different? Oh. Yeah, again, sometimes the GPS can be confusing when you're looking at the lines. They're trying to figure out where's the red line. There could be a subtle bend in it. Like only for those yellow indicators on the road ahead, I wouldn't have noticed. I nearly would have missed the turn. It has happened to me a few times. yeah, sometimes if you've got anything reflective in front of you, like lifting a glass of water, the tubby eye tracker can end up moving your view in the game. And if you lean back too far into the chair, it can definitely move in the wrong direction as well. You don't want it to. But so the advantage of playing, as I say, doing jobs like this in the solo player is I can press F1, I can go take a drink, or I can go to the toilet or whatever, grab food. But if you're in Truckers MP, you can't pause the game like that. You also can't take pictures at will, with one exception. The trucky app, Alt and B, will allow you to do it, take the screenshot. The only way to stop the game on Truckers MP multiplayer server is to actually pull in and stop. Then you can hit F1 and go do what you need. What I don't know is, does the timer still count down while you've gone AFK to do whatever you're doing? I've never seen it. Oh, see, we just hit 101 by accident. As I say, don't get distracted too much. And if you are tired, what I would suggest is just do a save. It will do an auto save. You can do a manual save. But at the moment, it looks like it's just a nice long motorway. And that's one of the reasons why you might not necessarily want to be changing the route, even if you do need to lengthen it a little bit. Well, let me just pull back on that. There we go. Right. Another thing you probably just noticed there was signs that said 120 on them. The problem with those signs is they don't match the GPS speed limit that shows up, or that's on the UI, the overlay thing at the moment. It's turned on. Sometimes they will, particularly coming into towns, through towns, leaving the town, they're fine. But I've noticed, and you can in the settings switch the game to use miles per hour versus kilometers per hour, but depending on the country you're actually in, those signs aren't necessarily miles and not necessarily kilometers. It's completely down to the, what would you call it, the localization of the country, like what measurements the country natively uses. So if you've changed the game default from miles to kilometers, and you're in a country that only uses miles, which is say the UK, I think, and then you drive to say somewhere like France, Germany, which I think is kilometers, it can be confusing. So that's why you're as well to just only follow the limit that's on the GPS. You can't take the signs as gospel. As I say, many of them will be correct at times, but if you see anything higher than 97, just disregard it. Do not go above 97 if you can help it. That's just the safest option. Now, I know we did hit 101 there at one point by accident again, but I don't know how long we hit the 101 for, so I think we might have been quick enough to have brake to bring it down, so we might not need to worry about it. We really won't know until the end of the job, which is now showing as 1240 with 58 minutes left. Right, just cruise control there at 94 for now. But as I said, yeah, the danger is if you're going to cruise control in the 90s or mid 90s and there's a dip in the road, depending on how much it dips and levels out or doesn't, you can go from that 94 to 104 fairly fucking quickly if you're not paying attention or if you're tired. As I say, for now we're on a level road, so as long as I'm paying attention, I just need to watch out for the road potentially dipping. Then before it dips, I'll turn off the cruise control so that I'll slowly slow down based on the distance between that point in time and where the dip in the road is, to then having to brake slowly to bring it down into the 80s. A lot of those lads that do the convoy stuff, that tends to be how I think they do it, because they've managed to master it to the point where they can average 99 at the end of the job and not get race miles. Now, that obviously takes practice and just understanding the truck, the type that you're using. There might be a tuning thing that I have to say, that's the one thing in this game I've not done. I haven't bought any of the tuning packs. When I'm reconfiguring the trucks, I'm usually only looking at things like heavy load versus normal and hill traversal. But I think the mistake people can easily fall into is as you've progressed with XP levels, you've unlocked parts, and you're going into the service configuration for the truck, and you're saying, oh look, I've got 4 new transmissions and 4 new engines, and you just go for the most expensive one. Like, no, don't make that mistake. Now, as it happens, we've gone into a lane that we probably shouldn't have gone into, but we're still parallel to the lane we probably should have stayed in. So as soon as we get up here, we just need to look for a break in the line to the left to see, can we get back in there. I'm hoping this merges back out. Yeah, it does. So we're okay at the moment. I'm just going to take a screenshot now of where we are. That's using the trucky screenshot method, not the photo mode in game, and not the Steam photo mode. I don't know how many Steam achievements I've completed. I know I'm still have a good bit to go yet. One thing I'll say about having multiple profiles is, yes, technically you can progress the same achievements across them. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do the same thing in each profile. If there is a Steam achievement that requires you visiting, say, all the cities in Italy, and you haven't visited them all in all of the profiles, but you have technically visited them all as partially, it actually counts. You're probably thinking it shouldn't, but yeah, it can't distinguish between you playing 2 or more profiles. The only reason to go back to the vanilla profile at the moment, Trucky had, was it last week I think it was, had a town on one of the 3 missions as part of the West Balkans area. I think it was Albania, I think it was. The problem was West Balkans hasn't been properly updated in PROMODS, so that particular town wasn't showing up on the map, and I tested it. So I discovered if I switched back to, was it vanilla or vanilla plus profile I had, that it actually was there. So then I was able to go. What I actually did in that particular case was I went on to Truckers MP as well, just to see was it there. It didn't, because Truckers MP has 6 or 8 different multiplayer types with different mods and no mods. I had to figure out which one had no mods on it related to PROMODS, and that worked. I could actually see it. Then I was able to use the dispatcher tool on Truckers MP to create jobs to and from that particular city, and that's how I managed to get that one done. Looks like our fuel is down to about 50%. And we've just passed a station, so we're going to have to keep an eye out for another one. Let me see, our route is splitting at the moment. Let's have a look. There's Berlin. We could go into Berlin. Or we could wait till that one. Yeah, we'll wait till that one. So this will be like a ring road outside of Berlin that's bringing us on. Are we on the right? Oh, for the love of... No, we're not. I was just going to say, and again, it's how you interpret the GPS as to whether you know you're in the right, correct lane or not. Alright, hold on. Let's have a look. Where's this bringing us? Bringing us to the other ring road of Berlin. That's annoying. That's really annoying when that happens. But like, as I said, if you did want to tag the recruitment agency truck dealer, you could actually just click and go in through the city and drive past them. I'm not too bothered. See, the whole point of doing a job like this is to get the kilometers in for the job log, so for the leaderboard. So at the moment, the leaderboard stats does all games, as in both Euro and American Trucker, but you can click to get the filter down to just a game, and then you can see where your company position is in terms of kilometers first, followed by the number of jobs you've done. Because of the new month February start, the guy that runs this, I think he switched us from being a UK company to Holland. I think he said. So we literally so each month you start off from 0 miles essentially. We've already got someone who's managed to do 50,000. It's like obviously he eats, sleeps, and farts this game, because how else would he have 15,000 done already? Okay, so here's a similar road. We are not going up and over. We are staying on this. Yeah, like he's in the number 1 position for ETS on our VTC. There's a few others who've been trying to catch up to him. I think I'm around 14th position. Because I don't do the convoys every day with them, that's how a lot of them are so far ahead of me, because they're as I say, they're doing at least 2,000 kilometers each night. Obviously I only play it when I have the time to play it. Let's see, where are we? Oh, that's alright, we're doing alright. As I say, we're not really under much pressure here. What's that, 50 minutes left now, it says. Again, that's estimated real-time minutes based on current cruise speed and the route plotted. If you weren't to take, if the route didn't have much of a motorway as part of the route, it would greatly slow you down. And some roads, there is different surface types, so on steering wheels there's tends to be force feedback. Turning it off is not recommended. And I've just taken the wrong turn again, haven't I? Right. What was I about to say? Yes, I once turned off the force feedback because of how rough the road was. And what happened was the wheel got really tight, like in terms of turning it. I don't know why. Anyway, okay, so there's an alternate route that's bringing us up this way. That's fine. We'll just keep going that. We'll just keep following it. We're alright. Has that changed our time? No, our time is still down to 49 minutes, so we're alright. We got lucky. Alright, let's set it to 93. Let's see. There are buttons you can set for increase, decrease of cruise control by, I think it's 3 to 5. But from what I heard someone else asking that question recently enough on Discord, the lads just said, nah, just have the button for turning it on and off, and leave it at that. Speaking of, so we do need to get fuel. If it was a thing that we end up being close to out of fuel, the F7 button does give us the option for services, and I think vehicle adjustments, no, not that one. I've never seen emergency refueling be available, but I'm guessing that's something we could do if we were literally out or near almost out. Let me come out of that. If I press F4, here we go. This is where you can turn on the extra lights and beacons and stuff. If you don't have a button set up for turning them all on, you can adjust the position of the seat or angle of the steering wheel. That's particularly useful, particularly this one, for being able to rotate your head to look out the window properly, like that. By default, the seat is further back, so you can't actually properly look out the window. Anyway, yeah, so 890 kilometers left. Can you imagine if this game was proper one-to-one scale and you were doing 1,000 kilometers? It'd be taking a hell of a lot longer. You will see on YouTube, actually, there's a couple of lads, I think it's Ganymede as well as Vutomai, who I mentioned earlier, who've actually used modded profiles to actually do really large long hauls. Like, I think I saw one yesterday, and a lot of them are old videos. I think it was 24,000, I think. And I think he had a modded profile that allowed him to go from, I think it was Iceland or Greenland, across Europe and down to where was it? I'm trying to remember. It was southeast across Europe, I think. Yeah, it was something like 5,000, 6,000 distance. And that could have been miles, not kilometers as well. I just can't remember. Like, you can actually plot your own free roam distance in this as well. You do gain XP for every, I think you get 150 XP for every 50 kilometers, or it's 50 XP for every 100 kilometers. I can't remember which. And I suppose if you're playing even vanilla and you want to tag all the cities and visit all the truck dealers and the recruiters to get that achievement, you're still gaining XP by doing that. I think for the smaller countries, yeah, it's probably worth trying to visit them all first, but it's, you might as well just play the game, do the jobs and stuff, and just naturally unlock or tag them as you visit them for the first time. And then if you happen to be passing, I was was talking about fuel there a moment ago, I just realised we nearly missed the turn. Let's put on our hazard lights because we're causing a hazard to get across the road, to get in here to get some fuel. Right. Again, I tend to get distracted when I'm trying to multitask. And come to a complete stop, turn off the engine and hold down the button and suck up the diesel, hey. Not to be confused with the Irish phrase, now we're sucking diesel. That does not refer to actually sucking diesel. It means now we're going hell for leather up the road. Speed. That's all that actually means. Right, on we go. And that was the sound of money coming out of my wallet. The day-night cycle, actually one thing I forgot to mention. When you have hired drivers and you've bought trucks for them, the day-night cycle, the rest option triggers the next day, and each time that happens, when there's a full cycle, you get the drivers get paid, and you collect money from the fees from the jobs. So that's how your wallet increases. It's usually at that point in time. And then sometimes you see messages popping up saying driver such and such had to return to base because they couldn't get a job, and our fuel and expense costs for the day was X. Then you'll see other messages where driver Simone P earned so much money on a specific job, so that goes into the company wallet as well. But as I mentioned earlier, vanilla game doesn't pay peanuts, absolute peanuts. It's not well balanced at all. I would hope that's something they should have fixed already, considering how old this game is. But maybe it'll be something future, in the future release, or maybe ETS 3 or whatever. There has been some talk about merging the two games just to be one big game. I just have all the features that both they have done and the community has done. But again, I take those videos from Vutami with a pinch of salt, because the way he words things just makes it look like it's all talk and there's no action. Like, it's all supposition. It's like, oh, maybe, sure, maybe we, yeah, and he doesn't say maybe. That's the thing. Like, the way he'll word it is, and it'll just be text on the screen. It won't be him talking necessarily. It'll be something like, oh, possible future updates, and oh yeah, and then he'll say, it might say something like improved sounds, more trucks, and then there'll be something that'll just be like so generic, vague, top level, high level, that you're like, is he saying that, or is that SCS said that, or did SCS actually come out and say that? And that's why I just got really frustrated with watching his videos, because I just felt like he was saying stuff that wasn't discussed. There's nothing officially said about it. It's not on a roadmap, or there is no roadmap, depending. And yeah, it's just quite frustrating, especially when you're new to the game and you see all these things being said, and you're like, oh, this is great. It sounds like they're still developing the game. And then it could be 6 months later and you still haven't seen what was said in any of the updates. So yeah, but that's not to say it's not a good game. It is. If you need to sink a lot of time, or you have a lot of spare time, definitely it's a great one for doing that, especially with having the leaderboard stuff and the weekly missions from Trucky and all that. Like, it does give you goals to target, but don't be cheating, because you'll just get bored of a game like this very quickly if you're using cheats. Like, Okay, I get the temptation to maybe early on vanilla to inject some cash to maybe get your own truck and a better truck and whatever else. But what I would say is don't go overboard. If you wanted to, if you did play the game vanilla for, I don't know, let's say you did 20 to 50 hours or a month's worth, and then you go, right, well, I'm going to create a new profile. I'm going to use a trainer or whatever to inject some cash, and you want to customize your starting point in that sense, where you've got maybe, I don't know, 10 million and you've got 2 or 3 garages and you're going to start in the middle of Europe somewhere or whatever. Okay, do that then. That's fine. But turn off the trainer or whatever you're using after that point, and just play the game as normal, and obviously put in mods, whatever else. But I'd say the legit kind of way to do it is get the delivery plus mod. As I said, you will earn cash really quick with that, because it balances out not just the money you make from jobs, but the AI drivers that you recruit, the money they make as well. It also, I think the normal default cost of a garage is 180,000, no matter where it's located. With the delivery plus enabled, it actually brings it down to 120, which I think is a lot more reasonable. But I think there's some other things it does in terms of balancing the economy, but I can't remember what they are. You'll see the details on the mod page. I'm pretty sure it's on the Steam Workshop as well. There are a lot of custom skins and stuff that are in there as well on the Steam store. Some of them are not on the Steam store, but they're in other repositories. I think, does Trucky have his own repository? Possibly. I know some people who've done mods are really strict on saying, you know, if you're downloading this mod, make sure you download it from such and such a site. There's a couple of reasons for that, sensible reasons for that. One is to control, is kind of like version control and safety against malicious extra code that might have been put in. There's one website in particular I'm thinking of. I think it's called sharemods.com. It looks really dodgy when let's say someone's done up an article on a certain list of mods, and here's a link to each of the mods, and you click on the link that's going to share mods so you can download it. It's actually legitimate, that one, but because of the nature of how it works, when you click it, you click first and it generates a link. Then there's like a little countdown. That's just to allow things to queue in case there's a lot of people using the website. That one is actually completely legitimate, but some might compare that to what's the other thing? Is it AdFly? I think it's called, where it's like a link shortening service that has ads. So some people see those and it puts them off, and they don't want to go anywhere near it. Now I've just noticed this thing has happened. It's happened again. It's looping. So we need to find a place to turn around. I'm not sure how that one happened this time. But we are going to go in here. Yeah, so what I'm saying though is the reason I happen to know about that is because I was doing some research after watching a video, one of those long haul videos where they talk about the custom maps like PROMODS and the add-ons that makes it even bigger. It was basically adding Greenland and some islands and stuff, and then it was also adding in things like Indonesia, and down that it was the Road to Asia mods and Maghreb and Russia and some other things. So I was building out a new profile. Actually, I had an existing test profile actually that I put them into, and as I was going down through the Google spreadsheet that was shared, with the order and the links. I saw some of the links were sharemods.com. So as I went to the first ones, that's how I tested it out, just to see. And my first instinct when I saw the page was, oh, this looks dodgy as hell. It's going to be loads of pop-ups and it's probably going to try to download something dodgy. But I tested it out, and it turns out it wasn't. It was actually legitimate. As I say, it's just the nature of how there might be an ad on the page, and that's how they're generating their, I suppose, ad revenue to pay for the hosting costs and whatnot. And that's fair enough. It's just when you get those, not Bitly, but there's the sites that are kind of like Bitly that have the redirections and multiple pop-ups, and you're like, no, I'm not clicking on that. When AdFly came out first, as similar to Bitly, it okay, we're going to go in here and turn actually. It was a lot more legitimate looking, and yeah, fair enough. It was the same thing, an ad to click through to get it to do what it needed to do. But I don't know, I just kind of felt that AdFly in particular got a lot more, I don't know, kind of spammy. Is that the word? Just dodgy, what looked like dodgy pages, dodgy pop-ups, and I just trusted it even less and less, to the point where I was avoiding and blocking it. But there'd be times you'd be looking for certain files, and it could be whatever, something old that you're trying to retrieve from on the internet, and then you end up hitting these types of links that you really don't want to be on. Anyway, and there's a sign for Lidl. Some of the billboards. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was trying not to hit the fence. I don't know if these mods, some of the mods I think we've included, actually do some real world billboards. There is some specific mods that do real world ads onto the billboards and the bus stop billboards and stuff like that. We'll even see American Truck Simulator being advertised on some of the signs. Right, we're back on proper route now. 38 minutes to go, it's saying. Now you might be wondering, why is that red light behind us on the GPS not cleared? Sometimes I think it just takes a while for it to catch up, but if there's a loop, like we discovered earlier, it's not going to, because there's either a pin or there's a railway track that's closing behind us. I just heard the bells and the red lights coming on. Now there is no pin behind us anymore, as it happens. Look, you see, it has the number 1 in it, so I don't know what caused that. I think it's the fact that we went down that way might have caused it. But normally, as you progress, the red line with the green arrows start disappearing behind you. As long as the speed limit, as I say, is 90 or between 70 and 90, I usually tend to sit 5 to 10 above it on the cruise control. That way I can make good time. So at the moment I haven't really been doing that. I think that one was 70, now it's gone to 60, so we're on 80. So I'll try and stay on the 80 range until I come to a junction with people like this in front of me, and if there's enough time and you can see ahead, just quickly get past them. Sometimes it'll happen that there'll be oncoming traffic, and if you can time it right, you can just squeeze through. Obviously you're not meant to do that. But if you do want to do like the hardcore type of thing of, rules of the road, resting, you can turn those features on, and better yet, play on Trucker's MP client as the client that starts up the game, because it does enforce an awful lot of those things. In fact, it enforces all of them. There might even be actual hardcore setups. I don't know because I haven't looked, but I suspect there are. There's also D bus, as in the letter D. There are coaches that you can get, and you can join onto certain multiplayer. I think Truckers MP does actually have a bus environment for driving buses. I know there's definitely cars. The cars are actually scout vehicles. I did try one of them recent enough. The bus thing I haven't tried just yet. It basically, someone came up with the idea of creating a framework mod for bus stops basically and passengers. So because there's already AI people in the game, they leverage that. Now, to play, as far as I know, to play it, there's two things you need. You need the bus mod framework thing itself, whatever that's called, and then you can find mods that are buses like Marco Polo, Daft Man, all of those. People have actually created them. I don't know if they're on the Steam store specifically. They might be on third-party sites, or as I say, share mod links, that kind of stuff. Maybe in the trucky mod repo on the app you can search, and it has its own little mod manager. So if they are available via the trucky app, by all means do it that way, or you can just download them manually and put them into the mods folder. I have noticed sometimes when you're taking a turn and you complete the turn, the indicators don't go off. I think it's something to do with the wheel. If you only turn the wheel so much that it doesn't get to the point at which the click should happen, that the indicator would stop. On the Logitech G, what's it, 920 Xbox PC edition that I'm using, there are gear shifters under the wheel, so that's what I use for my indicators. Right, we're coming up to another junction, which we might have to stop at because there's no room to get around. And it's about to go green. But these cars are going to do what I said earlier. They're going to brake, move, brake, move. It's typically what happens, and then some will indicate and some don't. But it's always at the last minute they indicate as well. It's not before they get to the or it's not as they're getting to the junction, which to me is a no. Right, another picture time. Right, go around them. We're not waiting. Time is money. Speaking of, all the way down to now, almost just over 30 minutes left. Depending on the load you're pulling as well, you need to be careful of speed, because taking a turn too fast will mean you are upside down or on your side. And that's when you have to use the F2 recovery options for towing and whatnot. The penalty really with the towing is or damage to the truck is, yes, you do pay for the truck to be repaired, but it will also tell you, oh, if you click OK, this is going to cost you 1 hour and 20 minutes plus an amount, the service charge to get towed. So depending on how far along you are on the job mission, and if it's not normal time delivery, that penalty time, if you were near the end of the job and something happened like that, and there was, let's say there was 15 minutes left on the job when an incident happened, the towing time could be an hour. So in theory, what will happen then is you're now past the delivery time, and yes, you can still deliver, but what will happen is it'll calculate a time versus XP penalty, and it'll deduct it from the XP you've earned. So just bear that in mind. Right, there's another dangerous downhill we need to be careful of not going over the time. There is a job history screen as well. Gdansk, I saw a sign there for Gdansk. Or is it Gdansk? I can't remember which. Don't know why I know that name. I know it from something, probably from something from a movie. Okay, we don't see that in comments. We're going to chance our arm. There is a way to subtly pull in front of each of these. There's another ad up in the billboard. Don't know what it's for though. I don't recognize it. That brand in front of us, I believe, is IKEA in Eastern Europe. Don't know what language specifically it is, but there are what's called POI, points of interest. Oh, that's cool. There's a train beside us. Oh, we have to get that. First I thought it was a tram, it's not. Right, get ahead of him. We're on 80. Turn off the indicator. Sometimes we forget. Start the brake because we're coming up to a left turn. Pumping the brakes a wee bit. Yeah, see, indicator didn't turn off. Had to do it myself. Some of the roundabouts are different where they're smaller, but the width is reasonably wide, you can go at them at speed, maybe 60 at the most, but the small ones with the narrow road around them, no, you really do need to get down into the 40s. Unless you want to risk the load that you're pulling or damaging it. How are we for fuel? No, fuel's alright. That's kind of the only reason why I generally have the F3 overlay on. I just turn it off. Because I said, if it's not obvious on the dashboard, the fuel indicator. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what button I set up for this. Is it that one? No, it's not that one. What button did we set up for it? Oh, I think it's I. Yeah. That's oil indicator. I don't know what the one below it is. Maybe it's the tank. That does look like a fuel gauge. Temperature. Anyway, put it back to that. We don't have long left. Anyway, we're nearly there. As I said, typically during the week, if I'm playing it at all, I'll try and do the 500 jobs at least 500 to 550 kilometers to get the trucky missions done. Plus, they tend to only be 22 to 27 minutes long, real time. So, if you use all the not, I don't want to necessarily say tricks, but obviously, if you're not sticking to the speed limits and you don't have traffic fines and stuff turned down, and you've no rest, and you've rest turned off, you can usually fly through them a little bit more. But again, don't go across the 99 to 100 kilometers per hour or 60 to 62 miles per hour. I mean, as I said, it can accidentally happen if you've taken your eye off for whatever reason, you got distracted. In some places, the detailed work that's been done or reworked, the area has been reworked. You'll see things like combine harvesters actually spitting out grain. They won't necessarily be moving up and down the field, but the spot in which they are. I do remember seeing one there recently and I was really impressed with it. The engine for the game, actually, I heard someone say it's called Core, C-O-R-E, but I'm not 100% sure if that's based on something else. Can you imagine if this was done on what's it called? Is it Unreal Engine 5.1 or 5.2, whatever it's on now? Like, the photorealism in that engine is just phenomenal. As I say, I did hear mention of SCS supposed to be moving us over to the newer version of Core in the next one or two updates. I think it's been done gradually across the next 1.5, 1.51, 1.52, but I don't know how true that is. Because again, I see that in the View to Me videos, which I tend to take with a pinch of salt, because sometimes he's using he might be using video clips out of context and just adding on his own wish list, which in itself is fine so long as you're not misleading people. Okay, there's a car coming, can't get around. There's more traffic coming, I see it. Why is this lad going so slow in front of me? Oh, beacons are on. Oh, let me turn off those. Okay, I don't know what the button is, so I'm doing it this way. The way this lad is driving, an AI driver is in front of me. I'm likely to go up the arse of it. I don't know why. Why is he slowing down? There's nothing in front of him. It's like he's trying to avoid the cars coming in the opposite direction. They're in their own lane. Right, take the opportunity, get out in front. Now, do you see the way I did that? You can force the AI to stop. Like, now you see, it did it again. Alright, we're coming up to a, what do you call it, border control point. I don't think we've, in this session, I think this is our first time doing this. So usually these are in pairs, one on each side. Just move up a little bit, and hit that brake, hit enter. Sometimes they're really quick, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for it to decide to let us through and the barrier goes up. Everything is in order. It would be interesting for someone to do a mod that maybe mixes it up a bit, because it's always going to be in order. It's the thing. Imagine if it turned around one day and goes, everything is not in order. Can you please drive into the shed to the right for an X-ray scan or something? Now, there kind of is that already in the game. Now it probably looks like I'm trying to bypass that middle section, but some of these border controls have another gate, which is this one. So you do have no choice but to stop. And then there's other times where there's no stop each side at all. You just stick to the middle lane and you're fine. Just bull on through. Forgot to put my indicator on. Nice. Can't really see around the corner. Well, we can see that car coming. He's gonna pull in front of him, the blue car. Do that. I'm gonna do that. Fast and Furious truck simulator. Okay, slow down, slow down. There's plenty of space. We might as well go up ahead. Now, is there room there for being cheeky? No, that light's going green. But we can do this. If we can force him to move out of my way, that car. No, that car is going to keep going. It tends to happen more with the cars than the lorries. The lorries do actually let you in if you do the indicators in time and you turn the nose in. Right, we're nearly there. What's it, 340 17 minutes. I do like that cinematic camera number 8. It's just a bit risky to do it when you're on a curve and not a straight road. Like that one. That's a great shot. I'm a big fan of that. And we have another junction that's been blocked both lanes, so I have to slow down. It's going green. Pump the brakes a little bit. Can we get it to get... Oh my god, look at these twats. Okay, indicate before someone else comes up behind me. Get out into that lane. Cape or lit, as they say in... Don't ask me what region of Ireland came up with that phrase, Cape or lit. Basically means keep going. Don't stop for nothing. Yes, my wonderful pureblood accent has not been diluted by any of those 31 other counties, thankfully. Up Breffney, County Cavan. Though I will say there are times when I do catch myself imitating some of those different adjacent counties and accents and phrases you hear people saying in the pubs and or people at work even. I don't know if Streamlabs OBS live YouTube chat is working or not. I can see the viewer count, but I cannot see anyone talking or asking questions, so I'm assuming there's no questions. By all means, do say hello, maybe say what country you're from, or what town if you're in Ireland, etc. Don't be shy. We're nearly at the end anyway. I'll probably add chapters into this later as well, so by the time other people are viewing it, it'll be easier to hop through. Probably do it based on the as we reach each city or are about to leave each city. Obviously Rotterdam being the exception because of the GPS messing me up. What's this lad? Why are you braking? Why did he brake? Coming, emerging lanes, and what does he do? And him already in the lane, not the lane that's merging into it, and he decides to brake. Right, roundabout, slow down. Slow down, slow down. Where are we going? Are we going round this or what are we doing? Come. Oh, hold on. Something's happened. How did that happen? Okay. Let's take this alternate route. Plus we get to visit somewhere new, it looks like. Come on, you wanker. Move. Or as someone would probably say, get out of the way, you fucking idiot. Oh well, we take the scenic route. I'm not in any mad rush anyway, but let's see. One thing you could do actually with this game if you're starting out is just tour the country you start in, and also do jobs between cities just in that country. As I say, use the dispatcher tool to do that because the native jobs list won't always give you city to city jobs in the same country. Yes, it will give you some usually, but if you haven't visited those cities, you won't they may not show up, they probably won't show up on the jobs list until you have, so that's kind of why it's worth doing that. as well as at the start you have to. I think you have to visit and buy 3 garages in your first before you can actually buy them remotely. And the same thing I think applies to the recruiters, um, the recruitment agencies, the truck dealers. I think there's something similar. You can't buy remotely until you've done until you've got your done your first couple, and I'm nearly sure it's 3. I just realised what that line under this, the digital speedometer, is. It's the it's how much I'm putting pressure on the acceleration pedal. So there's my foot off it, and it's gone down to 0. And if I just start to touch it gently, I can see it going up a little bit. Okay, we got a gate up here. We do another border control. Had we gone left, we would have been stuck, and that has happened to me in the past, where I wasn't paying attention and I tried going left, and it's a one-way system basically, so you can't. You have to either, if there's no room to drive around it, you have to reverse and then come into the proper gate, i.e. this one. And the camera is stuck in the building. Zoom out a bit. Oh, has it not gone up? No, it hasn't. There it is. Of course everything's in order. It's not like you can tell me it's not in order. As I was saying earlier, that's not a feature. Press F5 to clear that. Oh, wrong button. That was F6. Gives you the job details. What is that? User charge on roads A1, A20. What does it say? For something for goods vehicles and buses. Yeah. So there's a ferry point, a short ferry ride over to the mainland that we're heading for now in a moment. "15 minutes," it's saying left. As I say, the trucky overlay does not get captured. Only I can see that. Some of the map building that's been done by some of these people who did some of the, like, obviously there's the PROMODS mods, the map building, and even some of the custom add-ons. It's just phenomenal. Now, did you notice there was a bit of a stutter there where it just froze for a moment? That doesn't really happen too often. I didn't notice if it coincided with an autosave, but yeah, I did have one that was quite long earlier, but I left it alone and I waited, and it did come back under 5 minutes, and it definitely came back. So I wasn't panicking just yet. you'll find the areas that look really nice are the ones that have been really worked on either by the community or the PROMODS developers. Um, but some of the baseline or vanilla areas just haven't been changed since the original game came out. But you'll see in community news, like there's people talking about reworking, say, Birmingham or whatever, and they'll completely change what it looks like and adding company locations and company logos and different things, which is nice. Right, where are we going? We're going right here. There is a stop sign there, so technically, there is a road. When there is a stop/yield sign, you are supposed to come to a full stop, if I remember right. Check each way, look each way, and then take the turn when it's your turn or free, no obstruction. Right, where are we going here? So we're heading into the ferry now. There's another stop sign that we're ignoring. Oh yes, I've been here before. So this one doesn't really let you drive up to the ferry. It just makes you drive to that. It's a short ride across to the other side. Now I switch over. See? And hit enter. Don't even ask me to pronounce that. No chance. So we're going from this little peninsula across into Lithuania with our potted flowers, 3 tons of it. Panaviges. Is that it? I don't know. Right, let's get out of here. Actually, do we want to take a shot at that as well? Might as well. As you can see on the mini map or the GPS mini map thing, the question mark is that'll be a truck dealer recruitment agency that I haven't driven past yet. There's nothing stopping you driving to it now, but I'm going to stick to the plan. Oh, nearly missed my turn. We're going straight ahead, are we? Yes, we are. Ignoring the red light. Roundabout, so take it handy. If we had a lot, like we only got a 3-ton load, so you can preview that when you're taking missions. But if we had like 20-ton more, going through roundabouts that are bigger than that, wider than that, no, at speed, definitely not worth it. One of the benefits to having the 2 GPS different views is you can have them on different view zooms and settings. Like one is top down and then the other is kind of like just ahead. Can be a little bit of benefit that way. You can get a better idea as to whether or not you're supposed to be going straight or there's an off ramp or an on ramp that you're supposed to be heading for. As you've seen earlier, how I missed some turns because of that very reason, because I couldn't easily determine whether I was in the correct lane or not, because the 2 lanes were so close to each other. Oh, alright, hitting 98 now. That view. What else have we got? We've got 3 is top down. That's useful for parking. 6 is front chase cam, I guess you'd call it. 7 is front left. 8 is the... No, hold on, that's 7. 8 is the one with the semantic one, that one. 9 is... I think 9 just cycles them on, actually. Yeah, it does. 2 is rear view. And 1 is inner cab. I know some people enable developer mode so you can do better camera shots because you can go wider. The photo mode has like a invisible box that you can move within, so it does limit. It's quite limiting, particularly with height and distance from the truck. Whereas if you switch to developer console, you can detach yourself to move further. I heard someone talking about it there recently. Right, where are we going here? Are we... No, we're not hanging a right, we're hanging a left. To go straight. So the sun is going down. It does look quite nice at night time as well. Again, the skybox improvement is just amazing what they've done with it. I don't know if that's actually SCS developers an update that's done that, or if it's part of the... I know there was talk of them doing something last year to improve the weather and the look of it, but there is a weather mod that does 8K, 4K, and then 2K. So I have the 2K one installed, but I might not have it enabled anymore. I can't remember. I think the reason I disabled it was because I wanted to see what the current game weather and nighttime looked like. That's what it was. I think originally nighttime was just black. That was speed feck all, and then I think they did make it look more like a proper night, like stars and whatnot. Have we got our headlights? Yeah, we do actually have them on. Just checking. So we've got another turn coming up. We shouldn't be far off now. We're not. It's only up the road. Hey. Nearly there. Nearly there. It says 6 minutes left. And we've got a turn off coming up. We need to slow down. If you had I know I was talking about the weight of the load. If you've got a really heavy load, sometimes you do really need to slow down early. But you also need the extra speed to get up. Oh no, I've oversteered a bit. Nice recovery there. Doesn't always go that well. Okay, will this lad make up his mind? Where is he going? Right, okay, we made it round safely without... There's a bush in the middle of the road. I've heard reports of people saying that there's props appearing in places where there shouldn't be. I think there was like a pole, signpost pole, and a sign was reported on Discord there a while ago. Picture of it in the middle of a road somewhere near some town or city. A lot of those type of issues usually means someone's got some mod loaded that's probably either not compatible or it's in the wrong order. So in other words, the mod that needs to take precedence is at a lower order on the mod list, because it literally loads them in that order. I don't know whether it's top to bottom or bottom to top, but as I say, there is a reason that There's a reason that you're supposed to load certain things in a certain order, such as PROMODS. Right, what have we got now? 4 minutes left. There it is, Panevis. Oh, look how slow he's turning. Just as well we had our foot near the brake. I've actually had it happen where, and it was the first time I experienced it, where AI truck turning at a junction, I'm coming up behind him thinking I've got loads of time. Guess what? I did not have loads of time, and I went straight into the arse of him. It did cause damage. I think it was like 4 to 7%. Thankfully, that doesn't affect the outcome of the job results at the end. It's mostly it's mostly if you get damage to the goods themselves, then it becomes a problem. And there's a penalty, as I said. Right, another turn. It's so dark I can barely see where the line is, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to hug to the line on the right, but I can only really see the line on the left. Right, we're coming into this lane. Here we go. I can see it on the mini map. It's on the opposite side. But it looks like we have to go up to a roundabout first to come back down. It's in there, I think. It's not too far. Threading the needle with this thing. With those little island mark. Oh! You don't see those too often, those little slivers of a separator. I don't know what you'd call that. Here we go. Right. Into the correct lane. Can we zoom in? Yes, we can. It's telling us to go in here by the looks of it. Here we go. We've got fucking Sunday drivers taking their sweet time. Keep our late. Go on, move. You're definitely not going into the factory for delivery. There we go. Right. So this should auto open. Go, and we're going to check in. Now, if I had the time, I'd go around the back and I'd do that. That looks like an awkward one anyway. Sometimes you get lucky and the highest paying one is actually just drive into a corner and you're grand, it's done. Don't always get that lucky, but we're going to play it safe. That one. And we're so close to that, it's probably going to do a little bit of damage. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention when we were turning in. So it's down the back here. Now, Yeah, that does look quite tight for that first option that we didn't take. The truck still isn't straight, so we're going to have to do that. Now, switch camera view, turn it, pivot, switch it again, pivot, turn it out. You don't always have to get it exactly in the box, but there we go. Once it goes green, hit the brake and hit T. Perfect. And we got the maneuvering bonus. The I was reading the level, max level is actually 100. So yeah, plenty to. It does take quite a bit of time to get to this level. Obviously, the bonuses here are all to do with the skill points that you've spent. So I don't think I showed that earlier. Skill points is in here. So every skill point adds 1 to each of these. They all have different benefits, like there's long distance ranks, deliveries up to X amount distance. So that's the job market basically. And then there's the percentage bonuses, the what's this, experience bonus for delivery distances longer than 250, up to plus 71% for distance longer than 1500. So yeah, so there is a benefit to doing the ones up to 1500. As I say, the ones I typically try to do are between 500 and 600 when I'm doing the weekly mission stuff. There's just-in-time deliveries and the eco driving, which just means it's just fuel efficiency, I think is what I'd call that. What does it say? Fuel saved when driving with trailer, and fuel saved when driving free. You can do bank loans early on. Emails you will get. Yes, sometimes if you've hired a worker and you forgot to actually assign a truck to him, you will get messages from the driver telling you to give him a truck before he leaves. Then at some point, I think once you have all the DLCs, special transports like heavy vehicle stuff is there. Alright, that's it for now. Bye for now.